Welcome to Gulfstream today. It is President's Day, and we have a 12-race card this afternoon. All starter overnight handicap type things. They're going to be great. We're going to have 12 races. They are very competitive. And what do you think?
You know, I'm so old as you that we remember when President's Day, it was actually like Washington's birthday and Lincoln's birthday.
Yeah, you
right?
got 2 days off.
Now it's just one day.
Yeah, they put it all together now.
Could have been another day for 12 races, too.
Yeah, you never know.
Yeah.
Well, let's tell you what's going on around here as far as betting goes. We're going to start the day off with race number 1. We're going to carry over into Super High Five of $3,600 plus. That is the rolling Super High Five. Of course, we got the early pick 5 today. Andy, you'll have a ticket with that in just a couple of moments. The big news is the Rainbow Six. Over $1 million in the pool. There you see it, $1,046,000. And of course, we're going to end the day with another pick 5, a late pick 5 of the afternoon. And it's going to be a fun day. These are very competitive races, as I said, full field. So a chance to make a lot of money. And if you're lucky enough, maybe bring down that Rainbow Six. Lots of tickets yesterday, but the consolation still paid $1,600.
Well, you know, it's interesting how it's a very long discussion about the playing in the Rainbow Six. And obviously, with the big pools, there are a lot of people who are sharp players who bet a lot of money that feel that there is real equity in playing it. It's a long conversation. I felt like today's card was a day where many of the races have sort of one horse that's very much the horse to beat, but for whatever reasons they're a little bit vulnerable, and it's easy to sort of talk around them and talk about the horses that might be alternatives for them. And it's rare that these cards will end up chalking out. While all these horses individually may look very tough in one race or another, they're going to lose some of them, and the idea is, can we come up with some of the horses that beat them?
Well, let's go to your first pick 5 of the afternoon, and we'll see how you work this out.
I'm going to use 3 horses in 4 of the races. Hope it's as easy as 1, 2, 3 to start it out. You look at the board, obviously, the 4-horse Run with Bulls. I don't think that horse is going to be favored by post time, and I imagine that Roll on Navajo will be a shorter price. My pick in here, we'll try to make it through. We'll see if it works out. The first race, Ron, isn't Percussion much the horse to beat in here, the 2, as the controlling speed? Yeah,
I thought he was, and he's no slouch at the distance of a mile in the 16th. You know, he's got the 12 starts, 2 wins, 3 seconds, and 2/3. You know, I went with the horse that he beat last time on top. I think they're going to reverse it, and that's Rich Daddy in here. And you know, I see these 2 as the most competitive of the 2. Rich Daddy, 6 for 6 in the money at the distance. 6 starts, 2 wins, a second and 3/3. He's stretching out, fresh off that optional, claiming victory at a mile. Victor Barboza Jr., MCL Jaramillo, we mention this all the time. This guy's in great form. So, you know, those 2, to me, look like the logical 2.
Oh, they are the logical 2. There's no doubt about it. And Rich Daddy, he's the only horse that made any kind of run last time when he ran down Percussion. Percussion was going fast, but nobody came. But sometimes one-turn races, bottoming fields out, can be a little bit easier than 2-turn races. And I'm going to try to beat them both with Roll on Navajo. And I'm hoping that Tyler Gaffalione, it's not his fault. This horse doesn't have much speed.
Right.
But he's got to find a way to get into a little better position. He was 4 wide in the first turn last time, 3 wide in the second turn, running against obviously much better horses. And I actually thought he ran fairly well in there. Seems to me, as a 4-year-old, he may be the one horse in this race that may have some upside. And I'm kind of hoping he's improving at the right time and I can get the job done with him. It's not going to be easy because the pace is definitely not in his favor.
Yeah, and you'll get a nice price with him, I think. So that also helps. You know, you mentioned the current favorite up there very early in the wagering, Run with Bulls, trained by Peter Walder. Gelding is cutting back in distance. He, you know, he followed his victory in that mile in the 16th, claiming Crown Iron Horse, goes up, chases the pace in the 9 furlong, $250,000 Sunshine Millions Classics. They see all those prices, all those big purses. A horse like this, I wasn't that sure he could win this race, even though it's Peter Walder. I threw him on the ticket, but I'm leaning towards the 1, 2, and you were leaning towards the 3.
Well, I mean, lesser awards or not, Roll on the Navajo had a tougher trip than Run with Bulls in the Sunshine Millions Classic, and he beat him by 4 lengths, and he's going to be a bigger price. So for me, that's a layup.
Right. Let's go to race number 2, and this one is 1 mile and 1/16 on the turf. Fillies and mares, 4-year-olds and upward, and it's called the Mary Todd. Nice names on these races. Today, scratched the 7, Alves Rosie. Quiet Kitten looks like the one to beat in here. Andy, I'd put it on top.
We'll show her win 2 back, actually, and this is in the Tiara on Claiming Crown. It's a much different turf course this day. This was a turf course that's taking a lot of rain. In fact, this was the only turf race we were allowed to run that day. But she's the horse to beat, Ron.
Yeah, I mean, she's an impressive winner, as you mentioned, in this race. You can see her right now. I thought she ran very well. Dropping into this starter stakes after dueling for the lead, weakening late. She finished 8th, but look who she was facing that day. That was Sandiva, and that was in the Grade 3 Marshall's River. Daughter of Kitten's Joy. You know, fits perfectly with this level of competition here.
She didn't make the lead in this race, but she was fourthly placed. Now, she's got a real speed to contend with today in Daddy's Boo. And you know that Javier is going to be going with Daddy's Boo. He's not one of these riders that doesn't take advantage of his horse's natural speed. So she's going to have to deal with that one. And Daddy's Boo isn't a likely winner of the race, but I thought she was good enough to keep her a little bit busy on the front end and perhaps help set it up a little bit for a closer. And I'm interested in the one nominative in here. This horse last time out, that was a race, and we've talked about the race she's coming out of a couple times, where the pace completely held together. And I thought she did very well to make a big run, 2 wide in the first turn, but angled out 3 to 5 wide in the second turn. Good back form at Gulfstream Park, good post in here, and I'm hoping that there's enough hitting up front that maybe she'll be able to make that late run.
Yeah, and you got the ideal jockey to suit that running style with Julian Leparoux, who will certainly be back there and be patient about it. The other horse you use on your ticket, too, is the 3 Indian Starlight, who's cutting back to a mile in the 16th after shipping in from Aqueduct to win a mile in 3/16, $25,000 optional claimer. Won that in front running fashion. You mentioned the other horse that's got speed. Looks like there's going to be a hot pace of her ability to run or on or just off the pace can be her biggest asset if she doesn't get hooked in some suicide duel.
Well, she's not a speed. I mean, she was able to crawl in the front last time out. They kind of gift-wrapped the race and handed Indian Starlight. I just thought she was better than anybody else in here. But to me, I'm using the 1 and 6. If Indian Starlight beats me, I'm knocked out of the pick 5, and I can live with that.
Well, let's go to race number 3 this afternoon, and this one is 7 furlongs, fillies and mares, 4-year-olds and up, $60,000 purse. And, you know, the ones that are $60,000 are horses that claimers that ran for $35,000 or left. The cheaper ones, they ran for $12,500. So that's how you basically look at these starter stakes. This one, the Queen Mother, and as I mentioned in here, and the big favorite will probably be, but a big favorite, but one Scuba Suit. Easy for me to say. A previous winner at the 7 furlong distance is stretching out after shipping in from Gulfstream Park West and using I thought a high turn of speed to defeat $25,000 optional claimers, going 3/4 of a mile. George Navarro had a great week. Javier Castellano, you mentioned the last race. If anybody knows how to dole out speed, it's Javier Castellano. So I thought this was the logical one on the ticket.
She may win this race. I don't like her in here, but she may win. 7 furlongs, I know she's won at it, but that was a much weaker race. And she was able to take advantage of an extreme inside speed track last time out. We have the opposite track here. We have a dead rail, at least the last couple days. Now, that could change, and Javier's smart. He's going to get clear, and he's going to get off the rail, but she's not going to be on a track that's going to be carrying her speed along, and she has to get the other furlong. I won't be surprised when she wins. She's on my pick 5 ticket. But Del Cielo, how far off her is Del Cielo going to be? And aren't you worried? I mean, you haven't got Del Cielo in there at all. That was her first dirt race, and she ran a tremendous race in there. I think she's a huge threat in here and considered putting her on top.
Yeah, I did not use her on the ticket. You did go with the 2:20 and 1. I want to hear about that one.
I just thought 20 and 1, if the pace comes apart, it's 7 furlongs, and I wonder if the 1 can get it, and I wonder if the 5 was kind of last time was the time for her. And I thought the 20 and 1 is an improving horse for Mike Tomlinson. I don't love the last race she comes out of, but the second place finisher came back and ran a good second to a Todd Pletcher heavy favorite. She got the pace last time. How good is she? I don't know, but I'm hoping she can pick the pieces up. Indy Gita, who you have second, I mean, I don't know where that last race came from, but it looks like a sloppy off the Turk fluke to me, but she did run fast.
Yeah, Phil Serpi, Paco Lopez doling out his speed today, so you might be right going with these closers in these races because it looks like there's some hot pace in some of these races. And let's go right to race number 4 this afternoon, 7 furlongs. This is the Trust Buster, and we do have a jockey change, I believe, on the number 5. I don't know if it came in. I'll let you know about it. Or Larry will let you know about that. It was up in the air.
That's going to really throw my whole playoff. Where's the cat? Whoever's riding, where's the cat?
No.
I don't know who's riding where the cat. I'm going home right now. We got a replay. Why don't we show a replay of the first horses you have 1, 2
Let's get out of this mess you got me into now.
I'm not in a mess here. I'm upset about the number 5. Put that replay up there. There they are.
There you go.
Is Defer Heaven going to keep doing this? I got to see it to believe it today. He was unbelievable in here. What a race he ran.
Never been beaten at Gulfstream. He's 3 for 3. He loves the distance. 4 starts, 2 wins his second, going for his 3rd consecutive victory and 2nd consecutive score at 7/8 of a mile. Does he have another one in the tank?
I don't know. You know, He's been remarkable. He's the speed again. They're going to all have to chase him. He may get the 7 furlongs. He got it last time. I'm going to hope Mike Maker beats him this time. I'm using all 3 of the 2, 4, and 6 in this race on my tickets. We'll see if Slanabalya can turn the tables. Certainly, he had every chance last time out. He just got flat out beaten. No excuse whatsoever. Double Down Again. Can Double Down Again run anymore? That's the question. I mean, it was back in the end of October where he almost beat Falling Sky. He runs races like that. He's going to be very tough in here. He's run well in synthetics before, but those were much cheaper races earlier in his career. And while he failed last time miserably, I'm going to hope that he's going to get back to dirt. And I just have trouble believing that Mike Maker would ship him over here from Kentucky if he didn't think he could run anymore. We'll see what happens with him, but I know that his good race will beat these, but I know there's a question mark whether he can run now.
This horse I like in here, and it's the one Bulldozer, is also from the George Navarro barn. He trains Defer Heaven, will be outfitted with blinkers, rallied forward on a wet track that is listed as good last time out to finish second at the distance. John Velasquez on the inside post. I think this horse, we mentioned speed, he can sit a nice trip in here.
He looks a little slow to me, but he'll be a big price.
Touche. Let's go. Race 5 this afternoon. 7 furlongs. Fillies and mares, 4 and up, $50,000. Clean slate, no scratches, jockey changes. Got a video in here of the 5 Moonshine Promise. We're going to pick it up at the quarter pole.
Moonshine Promise may win here. I picked her second. Once again, these horses are all on my pick 5 tickets, but I didn't like Moonshine Promise last race. You look at her 3 races. She improves for Peter Walder and runs an 81 Beyer. Then she runs a 76, and she runs a 70. I mean, she was 40 cents to the dollar, 2 to 5 in this race. And I'm going to tell you, I was just hoping the wire came in this race as a single in my pick 5. I thought this was a very, very uninspiring effort by her. I understand the competition's not deep, but, you know, Concealed with a Kiss, who in her last start had finished second, beaten just under 3 lengths by Moonshine Promise. She skipped the next race, the one we just watched. She's waiting for this. I think she feels like a horse that's improving. And maybe today, if Moonshine Promise continues her decline, the Concealed with a Kiss can turn the tables on her. I'm going to hope that's the case.
Well, Moonshine Promise, never been beaten at Gulfstream Park. 3 races, 3 wins. It looked like the logical one. The other horse I threw in the ticket, Andy, was the 3 Silver Sachet, a multiple stakes winner at this 5 furlong distance, 1 on the turf.
Well, this is 7.
No, I mean the Silver Sachet?
Well, this is a 7 furlong race.
Oh, no. Yeah, no, I'm just saying 7 furlong race. Yeah, but I just thought this 5-time winner on a fast track, I thought this horse has some class.
She's the speed. She's going to be the speed in here, whether she can get 7 or not. I thought that Roland Gal had a little bit of an outside chance in here. You know, I know she finished well behind Moonshine Promise 2 back, but I thought she was a horse that might be a little sneaky if this race comes apart a bit, a little bit of a stretch.
We're not in agreement at all today. I like that.
No, we're not.
We're going to see.
I told you I'm going to try to beat these favorites all day long.
We're going to see. A little later on, this looks like we're going to have some kind of bet, maybe a meatball sandwich or something.
Well, I mean, you know, you're taking the logical horses, and I get that, and there's nothing wrong with any of those horses, but I think that a lot of them are a little bit shaky for a number of reasons, and I think there are viable alternatives. And, you know, I'm going to have to beat a couple of them to make money today, and that's sort of my game plan.
Well, let's go to the Sage of Monticello, and that is race number 6, 7.5.
The Sage of Monticello, really.
7.5 furlongs on the turf, 3-year-old, 60,000.
It's not his birthday today, Thomas Jefferson, right?
It is.
Well,
it's everybody.
Everybody's birthday. That's the deal.
Every president's birthday. It's like a 3-year-old horse turns 4 on January 1st.
Right.
Everybody.
All dead presidents become a year older today.
Exactly. 12, and I got a lot of dead presidents in my pocket. Number 12.
I got a lot less than I had a few weeks ago.
Number 12, White Cap, is not going to compete in here. I went with the 1. Ausby will depart from the rail and keeping his record on the Gulfstream Park turf course unblemished. 2 starts, 2 wins. He drew off at 7.5 furlongs in the race. He defeated $35,000 optional claimers. Won that race 6.5 widening lengths. It was a pretty nice performance, but I can understand, you know, the horse that you have on top of your ticket, and that is the number 5, Magave, I think.
Yeah, I'm not against Ausby, and he's another heavy favorite that may well win this race. It's a negative jockey switch, you know, taking Javier Castellano off for whatever reasons, and we saw it yesterday in that stake with Mom's Laugh. It certainly did her no favors yesterday.
That's a good point.
But she draws the rail, and he's fine. There's nothing against him. Magave's a horse that's had a little bit of trips in the races. I thought had a little bit of of trouble, kind of shuffled out. And I like the rider change to John Velasquez. I think John Velasquez is a rider who will get this horse into better position. And that's what's hurt this horse more than anything else, just a sort of lack of position. And I know he's not a speed type. I'll bet with John, he's a little bit closer today. And I'm just hoping that Johnny can get him into a more contending position. And to me, he's the very logical alternative to Osby. Don't know that he can beat him, but I'll take a shot.
Number 7, Coping Away, was faced allowance stakes competition since breaking his maiden last September. Is hoping to turn the tables on Osby today after steadying a little bit at the quarter pole, finishing second to him last time out. Eddie Castro rides this afternoon.
Yeah, there are a lot of horses that had trouble in that race, which is the reason that horse was second last time. I thought Donation wasn't impossible, but does have that outside post.
Well, let's take a short break. When we come back, we'll show you my Rainbow 6 ticket with over $1 million in that pool. Welcome back. It is race 7. It is time for the little magician. And I don't mean Andy. 1 mile on the turf, 4-year-olds and up, $50,000. Going to show you my Rainbow 6 ticket.
Is that a presidential nickname, Little Magician? Or was he a Barclay tag horse that ran a couple of years ago?
You got me there. There you see my ticket, $43.20.
You have none of my first 3 picks in your first leg.
You go back.
That out.
I got a single in race number 9, and that is the 5 horse in that race, and I think that horse can win. That's Manchurian High. I got to get a single in here. I went 4 deep in the last. I got my long shot near the 2 horse, 20 to 1 on the morning line. That's the angle I took. I got a single. I was lucky with my single yesterday. Just blew the doors off everybody. Maybe I can do it again. Much more competitive race today, but I felt I had to have a single in this race.
Not easy to sequence.
Yeah, no, not easy at all. And over $1 million, as we mentioned. I did go with the 11 in here, Purely Boy, a winner of his last 5 turf races.
Wait a second.
And I think
okay,
we have a video, right?
I'm confused.
What? Did I put the wrong numbers down?
Yeah,
well, I got to do that.
Guys, put up that Rainbow.
Yeah.
That Rainbow 6 ticket's not accurate because you don't have any of my 3 top choices. You have the exact same 3 choices that I have here.
I may have punched in the wrong one. I will no, yeah, I don't know what I did there. I think I screwed up. Okay. I will do it over again.
We'll redo that. Don't use his Rainbow 6. We'll do that later. Let's take a look, though, while we talk about at Purely Boy's race last time out at Fairgrounds. I thought there's an argument to be made, as you take a look at it, that he might have moved a little sooner in this race, and he still held on. I think that's what ended up making him look like he didn't run as well as he did, and he's supposed to get some pace in front of him today, and I'm hoping it works out.
Yeah, he's the winner of his last 5 turf races dating back to last May. Ships in fresh off that perfectly timed score. You're going to see right here at the Fairgrounds, Mike Maker, Javier Castellano atop the Gilded Son of Purim. So, yeah, I must have screwed up on the ticket
Ultra Doro is not on your ticket.
No.
I was thinking, not only did you go against me, you picked some pretty wacky horses in here, and lo and behold, you were just being wacky.
Yeah, I was being wacky, and we have the exact 3.
Been a lot of races this week.
Yeah,
this is the 62nd race of this week, so we'll give you a pass for that.
I think I might have sent the wrong file up
Cement
there. So.
Clement.
I love the name. I don't know what it means, but I love it.
With this horse. He's the horse to beat, but he's going to have to deal with some speed here. And he's going to have to deal with 4 on the marbles. Jaramillo has to go with him. And we'll see. I mean, some whatever his name is, because it is a disaster for poor Larry. He's going to have to rate with that one and then hope he can hold off the close.
We also used the 4 all-callers chipping in after a couple of solid turf performances, going 9 furlongs up at Tampa Bay, in which he defeated entry-level allowances runners on December 15th, and he came back. He rallied third in the 16-starter handicap up there. He ran pretty good in those 2 races up there, cut him back to a mile. 3 starts at a mile, 2 wins in the second, so he can run in a mile, and he's in really good form. I think one you got to use on your ticket.
He is in good form. He's been short prices in those races, and this is a tougher spot, but I don't disagree.
Yep. Let's go to race number 8 this afternoon, and this one is 6.5 furlongs, 4-year-olds and up, and it is the first running of the rail splitter. Scratch the 10, Mitos y Leyendas, and you can have your pick 5 ticket. I know you didn't screw it up like I screwed up my Rainbow 6.
Well, you don't know. If I was smart, I'd be using the wrong numbers in all my pick 5 plays. particularly the one that went 0 for 5 the other day. I'm going to try to use the 1 and 9 in this race, and and we'll use, it's a little bit lighter, 2 by 2 by 2, and then 3 by 3, $36 later. Trouble Kid, as we go back to it, we'll take a replay of his last race. I could buy the argument that this last field was just a better field. I still felt like he should have won. And I know he ran the best Beyer figure he's ever run, so I'm probably being unfair. He also has the inside, and he's going to have to deal with speed from Dreaming of Nino, who's going to be fast, and he's off the claim for George Navarro. And we'll see how the track is playing, but if that horse is hounding him the whole way, he's really going to have to be the best to beat this field, and I think it makes him a little bit vulnerable.
A little bit vulnerable in here, but as you mentioned, you got that 103 Beyer figure last time out. Looked like a logical choice in there to be on. You got to have him somewhere, which you did. And also with the number 9, early entries, cutting back to 6.5 furlongs today. 4 previous races at that distance with a couple of wins. Stalked early, drew away late to defeat. I thought a solid group of $62,500 optional claimers going 7/8 of a mile. Kathleen O'Connell, Paco Lopez going for 2 in a row.
Yeah, I liked him last time, and I'm loath to take horses that I bet on the time before that won. But he feels like a horse that really may be turning a corner, and I thought he really ran well. I mean, he was a winner every step of the way last time, and he's not slow. So he can put himself into contention, and like you, picking him second, he looks like the logical upsetter. City of Weston's going to be on my ticket somewhere with Javier. I liked him a little last time, and I think the wet track compromised his chances, but he'd really have to step it up to win this race.
I threw Dreaming of Nino on the ticket. You mentioned the speedy horse in there, and we'll know by now what the track is playing like. So
it'll be tough for him to win, though, with Trouble Kid in the race.
Right. Let's go to race number 9 this afternoon. 1 mile and 1/16 on the turf, 4-year-olds and up, $60,000. And we want to go back and show you the performance of the horse. I promise I singled in the Rainbow 6, and that's the 5, Manchurian High.
This was a sensational ride by Luis Saez, who kept his cool, kept him in position every way. He actually took the spot that Fundamental, the favorite, gave up. I can't knock Irad on Fundamental. I think he was trying to make sure he was out in the clear. He's riding the favorite. The last thing you want to do is get bottled up. It just ended up working out in the favor of Manchurian High, and I think Fundamental just didn't have enough. One concern with this race is it got a very high figure, and a number of lesser runners have come out of it, and they had run clearly their best numbers, and they didn't come back and duplicate it. I still think he's a legitimate horse, but I also think Key to Power, the horse that you have second, is a legitimate horse as well, and he just faced much too tough company. These two, one of these horses is supposed to win this race, and I took him the other order.
Yeah, I mean, you're talking about Key to Power. He's dropping into this spot after saving ground and getting beat only 2.5 lengths, as you mentioned. That's in the Grade 2 Fort Lauderdale last time out. Brendan Walsh.
He never left the rail that day. He did have an easy trip.
Corey Lannery returning. It's 11-time turf winner, so he loves this game and loves running on the turf, so I can understand you having these two flip-flop. I used the 9 in here, Andy. Golden Rifle, who misfired when stumbling at the start and dropped the rider last time out. He stretches out today, with
He's the controlling speed. I picked him 4th. He can win this race, Ron.
And he's a stakes winner at the distance. Marty Wolfson, Tyler Gaffleone, 4-time local turf winner. So I threw him in the ticket, and I thought maybe I'd get a little bit of a price. A lot of times when people see a line where, they don't know what happened at the jock, it wasn't the jock's fault that he got dropped.
If there's an upset in this race, more than Dan Hauser, who's a more likely winner, it's Golden Rifle, because if these horses lose, something freakish like Golden Rifle wiring the field figures to happen. But there's some tertiary speeds that may keep the pace pretty honest.
Well, let's go to race number 10, 7 furlongs. This is 3-year-old, $60,000. This is the American Fabius, and we do have a scratch in here of number 1, and that is a graphic strike. I was going to go to you.
You didn't go to Google for American Fabius? Should I take out my iPad and maybe find out?
Check it out.
We'll do that before the race.
You went with the number 2 horse.
Viewers want to know, Ron, who American Fabius
Strike
is.
Up the band.
I don't know. I thought he ran well last time. He fought his way. Mostly he was down the rail. Rail was no good that day. Ended up in the 2-path. I thought he ran very well. Maybe he freaked in the slop, or maybe he's a horse that's improved for Mike Maker. He's not a turf horse. His only race in the dirt for Mike was good. I like 2 horses in here, and these are the 2 I want. I want Strike Up the Band and Golden Ray. Golden Ray is a very dangerous, improved horse. I think he's not the controlling speed, but he's going to be perched in a very good spot. He draws well on the outside, and I'm interested in the 2 and 10, and they're my 2 horses. If one of them doesn't win, I'm knocked out. But your horse, Strong Composition, is my distant 3rd choice.
Yeah, I mean, he's stretching out to 7 furlongs. He returned from that little bit of a break to come within the neck of defeating $50,000 optional claimers going to 3/4 of a mile, albeit in the slop. Obviously concerned for this horse is the Colts penchant for finishing second. He's got 6 starts, 1 win, 4 seconds. So a bit of a concern there. I just thought the race set up nicely for him in there. But I'm using all three. You like the 2. I did not use the 10, but I used the 2 and the 5 and the number 3, Danny's Turbo, who's stretching out today after following his $25,000 debut victory with a $35,000 allowance score, optional claiming score up there at Tampa Bay. The Gelly has nothing wrong yet, 2 for 2.
His last race was a 4-horse field.
Right.
I'd given him a long look. It was a pretty weak field in there, and he's certainly not impossible in here. We'll see how it works out. I prefer, though, the 2 and 10.
Well, let's go to race number 11 this afternoon, 1 mile and 1/16th, and this one 4-year-olds and up, and it is the Old Hickory, and we're going to scratch the number 6 in here, Behemoth. And who'd you go with?
When I think of Behemoth, I think of Reservoir Dogs. You've seen Reservoir Dogs,
I've seen
right?
Reservoir Dogs,
And there's that Stephen Wright doing the soundtrack for it. He's the DJ, Behemoth. I just always thought of that when I
that
thought
one, that's the type of movie you got to watch 4 or 5 times. Every time it comes on, you got to watch it.
Quite a few times. Most copied movie of the last 20 years. I think the question with Moon Tige is whether or not you think he can be as effective going a mile to 16th around 2 turns.
Right.
He ran his heart out last time. Can he come back from that effort? It took something out of Amy's Flatter. Granted, she ran last week and ran against much tougher horses, but he ran really hard. That was such a big effort for him as he improved enough to win a mile and 16th, because you know the Catholic Cowboy, the distance is going to be fine with him.
Right.
The Catholic Cowboy had that big wide trip last time against Tuffer in the first turn. He actually got a good ride after that by Saez, who took him back kind of in saved ground and actually got 3rd, which was the best he could get because of the ride. I just thought Catholic Cowboy was a much more likely winner at the distance, but I am scared of Moon Tige.
Yeah, Moon Tige. I mean, that race, talking about that last race with Amy's Flatter, they went 7 furlongs in 1:21 and 2. They almost broke the track record, and I thought it was a good performance. Catholic Cowboy, for all the reasons you mentioned. I threw the 4 in here, Sir Kisciano, but I think this one has seen some better days. I think he'll be on the engine. I didn't know what to really do, and he was outfitted with blinkers today. He dueled for the lead. He flattened out in that race. I just think that he's going to be part. I'm not sure he can win it, but he can hold on and grab a share.
You could make an argument that I should have used him and not the 2 in the pick 5, because there's an argument to be made with blinkers on that he just goes out and wires these and they don't catch him. He also could theoretically hurt Moon Tige, because Moon Tige could hurt him, but Moon Tige is the horse that's going to be on the chase against him, because he's an aggressive. He's got to get an aggressive ride in here. But I agree, Sir Kisciano's not impossible. I might change my ticket and make it $48 and throw him in, actually.
Well, we're ending up this President Day card with a 7.5 furlong turf event for Phillies 3-year-olds, $60,000. It is the Mrs. Presidentris. And we have scratches in here. Wait, I have a jockey.
You can't with that name.
I have no idea. The jockey on the 12 is Elvis Trujillo. I know that.
You weren't at the meeting where they came up with the names?
No,
for
I
these
don't
races?
know. No, but I know it on spell check. It says it's not a word.
Really?
That's all I know.
I would have thought that you were at the meeting, actually.
You went to the inside here.
I did. I like Melody Croon in here. The only thing that concerns me is Melody Croon is how is she going to run off the layoff? I mean, I don't know what she's been doing for the last 26 days after running 3 times in 18 days. I thought she needed to ship to Tampa for that last race, because she was well rested after running the 2 races in 8 days. They went over there 10 days. She's running against better horses, and she fits very well in here and draws an inside post. I like her chances. And honestly, the fact that she's had 26 days off or whatever she's had, I think it's a reasonable layoff for a horse who was running a lot of times. And, the thing about this race is the 11 Born to Be a Winner you have on top, and I get it. It's not like, you look at Born to Be a Winner, and that horse ran very well in the Swedish Chant. Well, I mean, Melody Croon, who draws a much better post on the rail, she finished 2 lengths behind those horses when she ran against them 3 races back. So she's got the dope to win this race in a much better post.
And much better. Look at that price, 30 to 1 on the morning line.
She's not going to be 30 to 1. She's had some trips, too.
Right.
She's a very dangerous horse.
Well, let's talk about the 11 Born to Be Winner. This one is cutting back slightly to 7.5 furlongs after proving her mettle. When she stepped up, she got caught late when only beating a length. It was in the 1 mile grade 3 Swedish Chant. Carlo Vaccarezza, Corey Lannery in the saddle. Lots to like about this horse. I think this horse is really looks good in his spot, classes up perfectly.
Obviously, the last race makes the horse very dangerous. The problem is that sometimes a cheaper horse, and she ran even better. She didn't run 6, beaten 3 lengths. Right. They'll be elevated by their competition in turf races that bunch up. And I want to see her do it again, because she's going to be way over bet because of that race. I'm using her in the pick 5. Don't get me wrong. I want to see her again. I mean, Crystal's Cantata, the horse that you have second and I have second, she's another horse that really stepped her game up on the turf. She may be a horse that just likes the turf, and she could run well win this race again.
And she's in great form. She's going for her third in a row, so I thought you had to have her on the ticket. I did not use the 1, but I did use the 8, and that's Cape Caroline. Hoping to get back to the winner's circle after following her $35,000 maiden score. She got bumped a little bit at the start.
She should have beaten Crystal's Quintana last time. She had a perfect trip to beat her. Not that Crystal's Quintana had a bad trip.
Right.
She should have beaten her last time. I'm not saying she's impossible, but she had every chance to beat her last time.
Trained by Buff Bradley, ridden today by Tyler Gaffleone. Well, we have a lot of fun ahead of us a little later on. We're going to turn it over in a couple of minutes to Larry Comas. And then when we come back, we'll update you on everything that's going around here.
Do you think Larry knows? Do you think Larry knows who American Fabius is?
No.
Well, I hope he does, because I'm going to grill him.
We're going to grill him.
I'm going to sit right there while he changes and grill him. Every single race that comes up, I want him to tell a story about the name, what's his name for the race.
Well, you can tell this is the end of a long weekend because he's goofier than I am, and that's saying a lot.
I'm just a guy who's full of questions.
Good luck.